now begun.
In this effort, the United States is acting with a broad coalition that is committed to enforcing United Nations Security Council Resolution 1973, which calls for the protection of the Libyan people. That coalition met in Paris today to send a unified message, and it brings together many of our European and Arab partners. This is not an outcome that the United States or any of our partners sought. Even yesterday, the international community offered Muammar Gaddafi the opportunity to pursue an immediate ceasefire, one that stopped the violence against civilians and the advances of Gaddafi's forces. But despite the hollow words of his government, he has ignored that opportunity. His attacks on his own people have continued. His forces have been on the move, and the danger faced by the people of Libya has grown. I am deeply aware of the risks of any military action, no matter what limits we place on it. I want the American people to know that the use of force is not our first choice, and it's not a choice that I make lightly. But we cannot stand idly by when a tyrant tells his people that there will be no mercy, and his forces step up their assaults on cities like Benghazi and Misrata, where innocent men and women face brutality and death at the hands of their own government. So we must be clear. Actions have consequences, and the writ of the international community must be enforced. That is the cause of this coalition. As a part of this effort, the United States will contribute our unique capabilities at the front end of the mission to protect Libyan civilians and to enable the enforcement of a no-fly zone that will be led by our international partners. And as I said yesterday, we will not, I repeat, we will not deploy any U.S. troops on the ground. As Commander-in-Chief, I have great confidence in the men and women of our military who will carry out this mission. They carry with them the respect of a grateful nation. I'm also proud that we are acting as part of a coalition that includes close allies and partners who are prepared to meet their responsibility to protect the people of Libya and uphold the mandate of the international community. I've acted after consulting with my national security team and Republican and Democratic leaders of Congress. And in the coming hours and days, my administration will keep the American people fully informed. But make no mistake, today we are part of a broad coalition. We are answering the calls of a threatened people, and we are acting in the interests of the United States and the world. Thank you very much.
President Obama in Brasilia, Brazil before.
Hi everybody. So we just listened to what Obama said. It's kind of strange feeling that I have. I wasn't expecting the United States to be so on the field immediately. I thought it was kind of a European thing after the first discussion, because much more an European interest regarding especially the oil in Libya, and mostly I thought it was a way to really start moving in a coalition. So I was kind of surprised. I'm not the kind of guy that is pro-war at all. My uncle was killed and tortured by the fascists and the Nazis during the Second World War. We know as family the risk of being in a war, so we don't take wars in general so lightly. And also I never took war lightly in the last years, especially United States war, since the time in which United States tried to defend its own interest, imposing dictators in South America, or fighting against peasants in Vietnam or whatever, or even recently with the useless attack in Iran and also Afghanistan. We can discuss about that. The fact that for many years they always defend the people that they consider dictators, like the Mubarak, the Gaddafi, and the king of the king of Saudi Arabia, that went hand by hand with Bush, as you remember, only for economic reason. Well, now the situation is a little bit changed. Now we have different kind of dictators, and now we have a different kind of stories going on in the south of the Mediterranean and Northern Africa and other regions. These are the people of this country that are fighting for their freedom, for their rights, for their civil human rights, possibility to have democracy and to create their own party and have elections and so on. It started in Tunisia, then it moved to Egypt, and now in Libya, and as you saw in Bahrain, in Yemen, and demonstration in Iran. Is a lot of movement. There are a lot of movements going on. I mean, step by step, this world is moving towards democracy. And this is the things that the Republican fears the most. The world moving towards democracy. Because they defended for many, many years all these dictators for their own interest. But now what to do? Well, this is the first case, the first situation in which I agree with Obama about Gaddafi. That's kind of weird. I agree with removing as soon as possible these people, because we are fighting and we are trying to help other people to find what we fought, what we had many, many years ago in Europe with Second World War, and United States with the Civil War, and try to get independence from imperialism, independence from dictators, and from fascism, Nazism, and communism, and other stuff. So it's important that these people feel that the Western country, they are not the imperialist one, at least for once, and they are allies. So I will support them. You know, we are in a world in which there are many kind of dictators we have to deal with. Some of them maybe need to be physically eliminated or at least removed. And in some cases you need to use the force for doing that. Some cases worse. Even if it's the last choice I would ever think about. There are other dictators. Anybody try to remove your rights to exist, to congregate, to have a congregation, to have unions, to have your civil rights, human rights as a man, gay, religion, whatever, minorities and so on, and public versus private and so on. All these guys has to be removed. In the Middle East, there are wars. In the United States, like Wisconsin, Ohio, Michigan, you have a different kind of weapons. And this weapon is called recalling your governor, recalling them. These are other kind of dictator. Recall them. Find the votes, find the numbers, and remove these people that wants to remove your rights. Remove anyone that try to talk to you about big government, and then they implement big government dictatorship like at state level, like in United States, or as in Middle East, other kind of dictators that try to shut the mouth of people. So if you ask me, final question, if I am for that, yes, I am. I think it was moving in the direction to help people in the right way. Peace to everybody.